Police swear to serve and protect us, but what happens when they need to be held accountable?
Then my job is to decide whether or not the police officer could be and should be charged with a crime.
This morning, we're going in-depth on policing the police. A local prosecutor weighs in, and we'll have a new report card on a department ordered to make changes. Plus,
if the mob had gotten closer to the vice president, I do think there would have been a massacre in the Capitol that day.
More bombshells from the investigation into the Capitol riots. And countdown to kickoff, what to know before tomorrow's start of Broncos training camp. And all the fanfare out there. Thanks for joining us on Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Brian Sanders. Off the top this morning, the man at the center of the Lodo shooting where police injured bystanders was allowed bond. Our cameras were not allowed in the courtroom to see Jordan Waddy, but a Denver judge said the suspect could be released if he posts a $10,000 surety bond. Waddy was on parole at the time of the shooting on July 17th and is facing mainly weapons charges in connection to that, plus misdemeanor assault. Police say he flashed a gun at them as bars were letting out. 3 officers then opened fire, injuring Waddy and 6 bystanders. Denver's district attorney is also in the process of investigating the 3 officers who fired at him. Our Nicole Brady sat down with DA Beth McCann. She says she can't talk about a pending investigation, but she did give some insight on the importance of police body camera video.
The body camera is typically very, very helpful. Sometimes not at all, because they wear it on their chest, and if they have their guns out, sometimes you can't see anything. But in some cases, the body camera is very, very helpful because you can see lots of things. Often, though, it's dark, it's jumbled, there's a lot going on.
Beth McCann has been Denver's top prosecutor for more than 5 years, and during that time, she has not charged any officers in a shooting. She has charged them with assault or other nonviolent crimes, though. When investigations into officer shootings are wrapped up, she holds public meetings to explain her findings. One of those meetings is happening tonight from 5 to 6 p.m. She'll be talking about the investigation into the shooting death of Colton Wagner from last summer. Police say he turned a gun on officers at a park and the officers shot him, killing him. McCann said the officers did follow their training and stopped a bad situation from getting worse. People calling for greater transparency after the Lodo shooting won a civilian police accountability council. Well, Denver already has one. You can join their public meetings on the 1st and 3rd Fridays of every month. The next one is August 5th. If policy issues are found, it can be a long process to turn a department around. AURORA is under a consent decree to address issues of racial bias and use of force. The company guiding the city's police and fire departments to improve their service just issued its first report. Denver 7's Christian Lopez breaks down the findings and the next steps.
In that first report, the monitor found that the department's review of use of force incidents is not thorough enough. It says the Force Review Board does not dig deep enough when it comes to asking officers questions about what they could have done differently to prevent a situation from escalating. It also says Aurora Fire Rescue needs better access to body camera footage to review chemical injection incidents. It says if the department ever wants to reintroduce the use of ketamine, they would have to undergo approval from the monitor team. The report assessed 36 of 70 mandates for this reporting period. The city was found to be in good compliance with 9 of those mandates, including how drugs were used by firefighters, and the Community Service Commissioner hired an expert to oversee promotions. The company IntegraSure was brought in to oversee Aurora's progress when it comes to addressing issues with bias and use of force. We spoke to the company's president in April when he outlined those steps forward.
There are 7 areas of reform, and we believe, and I think the Attorney General and the city believes, that if we can successfully have these reforms implemented, that Aurora will in fact be the model for public safety, not only in the state of Colorado, but nationally.
We have that full report on our website, thedenverchannel.com. On August 9th, IntegraSure will host a town hall meeting where they'll give an overview of this report and also answer any questions from the public. Reporting this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
A federal judge has temporarily blocked some gun laws from going into effect in Superior. The group Rocky Mountain Gun Owners sued the town on constitutional grounds over the ordinances. Superior passed a ban on assault weapons and large capacity magazines, as well as the possession of illegal weapons. The executive director of RMGO says a recent Supreme Court decision could mean it's open season on local gun laws.
The Bruin decision gave us a 4-ton wrecking ball to dismantle any and all unconstitutional gun laws here in the state of Colorado. This could actually lift the statewide mag ban that was instituted in 2013. But not only that, it could block any type of assault weapons ban or classification ban, meaning accessories.
The judge did not block Superior's law that bans open carry. The restraining orders are temporary. The next hearing on the lawsuit is August 4th. The city of Thornton is telling residents not to panic this morning after it found forever chemicals in its drinking water. City officials say the chemicals, which are also known as PFAS, have been in the water for years. They're taking steps to clean them out, but the water supply exceeded new EPA advisory levels by more than 1,000 times. Cities across the country are trying to adjust to the new changes. Most of us turn on our water faucet and don't think twice about how the water gets there. But in Brighton, the current water treatment plant is nearing the end of its lifespan. Today is the groundbreaking on a new water treatment plant. Officials say the new plant will be able to process an extra 10 million gallons of treated water each day compared to the old plant. The new plant is scheduled to open in 3 years. Officials say the new plant will eliminate the need to buy water from Denver and Thornton. People living at an Aurora apartment complex reached out to contact Denver 7 after learning their water could be shut off on Friday because their building hadn't done tests to make sure the water is safe. Aurora Water says they've been trying to reach out to building managers since February. The tests make sure chemicals from the boiler don't get into the tap water.
With all of the health issues and everything, like the idea of I can't wash my hands thoroughly right now during COVID, it's unacceptable.
These rules are in place for a very good reason. We're not trying to penalize the tenants at all. That last thing we want to do is penalize the tenants.
This is happening at the Malibu Manor Apartments, and after we called the landlord, the city confirms a test was scheduled for tomorrow. If the equipment passes, the planned water shutoff will be canceled. Today in Washington, all eyes are on former President Donald Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence. They are speaking at separate events in D.C. hours after we learned Pence's former chief of staff testified in the Capitol riots probe. ABC's Justin Finch has more.
Another January 6th probe gaining momentum as a federal grand jury has now heard from 2 top-level aides of former Vice President Mike Pence.
If the mob had gotten closer to the vice president, I do think there would have been a massacre in the Capitol that day.
Former Pence Chief of Staff Mark Short on the anxious effort to escape danger as crowds breached the Capitol. Short, now the highest-ranking Trump White House official to testify before the grand jury. Sources say he and former Pence counsel Greg Jacob are cooperating with the Justice Department probe. Both have also faced questions from the House Select Committee, which has released new video and images appearing to show former President Trump was resistant to condemning crowds who stormed the Capitol. The committee presenting this image of a draft of Trump's January 7th remarks with sentences stricken and handwritten additions. Trump's daughter and former advisor Ivanka Trump questioned.
Do you recognize the handwriting?
It looks like my father's handwriting.
The committee saying Trump cut key lines calling for swift and firm legal consequences and for the Justice Department to prosecute all lawbreakers to the fullest extent of the law. Trump's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner asked why.
Do you know why he wanted that crossed out?
I don't know.
From the White House, President Biden, recovering from COVID-19, praising the law enforcement response to the Capitol riot while denouncing Trump for not doing enough.
For 3 hours, the defeated former president of the United States watched it all happen as he sat in the comfort of the private dining room next to the Oval Office.
Former President Trump's arrival to Washington marks his first since leaving office. He's set to speak this afternoon before a summit of the America First Policy Institute. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Well, we've seen their red carpet looks now at the ESPYs and the Grammys, and now Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson and wife Sierra are taking their fashion to you. The couple and a whole lot of their friends and fans showed up at Park Meadows Mall last night for the opening of their new clothing store called the House of LR&C, Love, Respect, and Care. Russell and Sierra described their venture as a team effort, and it marks the end of the off season for both of them.
Are you ready for him to go back to work?
You know what? I'm excited. It's always bittersweet because this is when he gets like in it, wrapped up in the zone and lost in it, but I support that. I'm excited for him. I think it's going to be an amazing chapter. Denver's been phenomenal so far. At home, it's been amazing. The fans have been amazing. And as Russ would say, I'm ready to ride. Let's ride. I'm excited for him.
They're very hands-on with their retail store, too. Wilson begins his first day of Broncos training camp tomorrow. Gates open to fans at 9. Lisa Hidalgo and I will both be out there in the morning. And then our Denver 7 sports team, Lionel, Nick, and Troy, have you covered with Broncos training camp coverage every night right here on Denver 7. Coming up, and all new at 11, the high cost of housing, which we can't escape, but a new report shows why it could be worse and in some ways finally be getting better here.